It is a peculiar and deeply frustrating experience to feel like you are standing on a moving sidewalk while everyone around you is sprinting toward success. You see them, the effortless earners, the ones whose investments seem to multiply spontaneously, the individuals who talk about their businesses flowing and their opportunities appearing. They inhabit a reality that feels vibrant, spacious, and constantly expanding. You watch their financial stories unfold like a blockbuster film, full of positive surprises and inevitable triumphs. Yet, your own reality, despite your equal or even superior talent, intelligence, and relentless effort, feels like a grainy, repetitive loop stuck in slow motion. You are working just as hard, perhaps harder, putting in the 12-hour days, perfecting the skills, executing the strategies you read about in their books, but the needle barely moves. The tension is palpable. This constant, nagging comparison creates a genuine emotional wound. You internalize the stagnation, twisting it into questions of self-worth. What fundamental piece of the puzzle are they hoarding? Is there something inherently broken in my capacity to receive? The crushing weight of this realization is that the gap isn't defined by lack of activity. You are active. The gap isn't defined by poor ideas. Your ideas are insightful. The gap, therefore, must be invisible. It must be energetic. It must reside in that silent, subconscious space where you hold your deepest convictions about money. You are caught in a painful paradox. You desperately want prosperity, but every fiber of your financial being is braced for failure, for the next setback, for the inevitable scarcity. You are witnessing in real time the stark contrast between two distinct energetic frequencies, and this is a secret that separates the worlds. The prosperous are vibrating in the frequency of expansion. They expect growth, they anticipate favorable outcomes, and they treat money as a fluid resource, an energy to be directed rather than a scarce commodity to be hoarded. They operate from a baseline of enough. Conversely, the experience of being stuck, of watching opportunities evaporate and effort yield diminishing returns, is the unavoidable consequence of vibrating in survival. When you operate from survival, your internal system is primed for threat. Every financial decision is filtered through fear. Fear of losing what little you have, fear of debt, fear of failure, and often the deep, insidious fear of success itself, because success means visibility, responsibility, and potential for a catastrophic fall. This energetic misalignment is the root cause of the friction you feel. Your consciousness is sending out signals that say, danger is imminent, resources are limited, while your physical actions are trying to create an environment of safety and abundance. The internal signal always overrides the external effort. You are pushing a car with the emergency brake on, and the exhaustion you feel is a direct result of this internal resistance. Until you learn how to release that brake, until you synchronize your internal state with the frequency of expansion, all the talent and hard work in the world will only serve to reinforce your current standstill. We are not just going to talk about budgeting or saving. We are going deep into the operating system of your mind to pull out the programs that are keeping you stuck in the vibration of survival, and we are going to replace them with the code that generates unstoppable financial flow. This is a path to moving from constant comparison to confident creation. Part 2, Awareness and Belief System. The journey out of stagnation begins not with an investment strategy, but with an archaeological excavation of your own mind. That deep-seated feeling of financial friction, that heavy energy of survival we just discussed, is not random. It is a carefully constructed architecture built over decades. We need to explore where those rigid walls came from. Your subconscious mind is a vast, unedited video archive of every financial interaction you witnessed or experienced before the age of 10. Think of the dinner table conversations about bills, the hushed arguments about debt, the parental stress evident whenever the mail contained a certain type of envelope. What were the unspoken rules? Perhaps, money is hard to get, or we don't talk about money, or the classic, the only way to get ahead is to work until you break. These are not just memories. They are financial programs running in the background, consuming your mental RAM and dictating your vibrational output. These inherited programs clash violently with your adult desire for abundance. For example, if you grew up hearing that rich people are greedy or unhappy, your inner system creates a protective barrier. Subconsciously, you reason, if success equals being a bad person, then I must sabotage my success to remain a good person. This is why many highly capable individuals find themselves in a constant loop of near misses, excellent contracts that fall apart at the last minute, sudden unexpected expenses that wipe out savings, or the bizarre inability to raise prices even when their market demands it. It's not fate. It's fidelity to an old, unconscious belief system designed to keep you safe within the familiar constraints of your family's financial narrative. To break this, you must shine a light on the shadows. Take a moment right now and identify 3 core statements you heard about money when you were a child. Write them down. Now, recognize that these statements, delivered by authority figures, were accepted as universal truths by your young, impressionable mind. But they are not universal truths. They are merely narratives, specific stories belonging to your past environment. They may have been true for your parents, but they are not your destiny. The goal of this phase is simply recognition. We are peeling back the first layer of the onion, understanding that the stagnation you experience today is less about your present reality and far more about the history stored within you. The moment you acknowledge the origin of the survival vibration, you create the necessary distance to choose a different frequency. Awareness is the first step of reprogramming, giving you the power to stop running on a default setting and start designing your own prosperous reality. Part 3, Breaking Financial Myths. Once we have identified the ancestral scripts and cultural myths that have kept your survival frequency locked in, the next crucial step is deliberate reframing. We must dismantle the limiting beliefs that are actively blocking the flow of abundance and replace them with empowering truths that resonate with expansion. There are 3 myths that perpetually undermine financial self-mastery, and they must be explicitly banished. First, the myth of scarcity and zero-sum wealth. This narrative posits that if someone else gains, you must lose. This keeps you in a competitive, anxious, and deeply restrictive mindset. It makes you resentful of others' success, which, energetically, tells the universe that success is something to be avoided, not attracted. The truth we embrace is that wealth is infinite and regenerative. Prosperity is not a fixed pie. It is a flowing ocean. When you see someone succeed, instead of feeling envy, you shift your frequency to admiration and resonance. If it is possible for them, it is evidence that it is possible for me. Their success is confirmation of the available abundance, not proof of your lack. Second, the myth of unworthiness and guilt. This is the belief that wanting significant wealth is inherently selfish, or that you must suffer or struggle heroically to deserve success. This belief system often leads to self-sabotage. The moment a significant opportunity arrives, you find a way to spoil it, because deep down, you don't feel worthy of that level of ease or power. The liberating truth is that prosperity is not about guilt. It is a spiritual tool for impact. The more financially whole you are, the greater your capacity to serve, support, and elevate others. Financial self-mastery is not selfish. It is a prerequisite for generosity. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You must become the overflowing vessel. Third, the myth of complexity and control. This paralyzing belief insists that only rocket scientists can manage money, requiring endless spreadsheets, perfect market timing, and rigid, painful budgeting. This keeps people perpetually waiting for the perfect plan or the right moment. The truth is that financial flow is built on clear intention, simplicity, and consistent energetic hygiene, not complex mechanics. Your money management doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be intentional and aligned. To reprogram these myths, incorporate powerful, conscious affirmations that act as vibrational recalibration tools. Replace money is hard to get with, I am a magnet for wealth, and resources flow me easily and consistently. Replace, I am afraid of debt with, my financial decisions are grounded in intelligence, and I am a wise steward of my assets and opportunities. These are not just nice words. They are linguistic instructions you are giving your subconscious mind to rewrite the survival scripts, shifting your internal frequency from restriction to open reception. Part 4. Shifting mindset through action. Mindset work is often misinterpreted as passive meditation or simply repeating affirmations. True energetic alignment requires active, tangible steps that bridge the gap between internal belief and external reality. This phase is about incorporating small, high-leverage habits that signal to your nervous system that the survival threat is over and that expansion is a new default state. We are transforming abstract belief into lived experience. The most powerful tool for this shift is intentional gratitude and appreciation, specifically targeted at money. When you are vibrating in survival, you only focus on what is missing or what you fear losing. This contracts your energy. To expand, you must consciously shift your attention. Every morning, before checking your balance, practice financial gratitude. Don't just list what you have, but appreciate the flow of money in your life. Thank the money that paid your rent, the money currently sitting in your account, and even the money you spent yesterday, recognizing its role in facilitating comfort and opportunity. This subtle act transforms money from a source of stress into a tool of appreciation. This sends a powerful signal of abundance back into the universe. Next, implement the practice of conscious spending intention. Instead of spending money while feeling guilt or fear, stop and state a positive intention before every transaction, large or small. If you buy groceries, think, "This money is going out to nourish my body and family, and it will return to me multiplied." If you pay a bill, think, "I am grateful for service provided, and I happily release this money, knowing my resources are endless." This practice dismantles the subconscious belief that money leaving equals loss. Instead, you redefine spending as an act of energetic circulation, which is precisely how wealth operates in the expansion frequency. Finally, begin financial visualization as current reality. Stop visualizing a distant future where you are rich. Start visualizing yourself right now as the person who effortlessly manages and attracts abundance. How do you feel when you open your bank account? Calm, confident, powerful. Practice feeling those emotions before the financial reality catches up. Your internal state must be aligned with prosperity today. Use journaling not just for tracking expenses, but for tracking your feelings about money, noticing moments of contraction, and consciously choosing moments of expansion. These microactions are the practical switches that move you out of the heavy, resistant energy of survival and into the lightness and magnetism of true financial flow. Part 5. Empowerment and Identity. We have moved from awareness of the old scripts to actively shifting our daily behaviors. Now, we arrive at the apex of the transformation, claiming a new financial identity. True abundance is not a quantity. It is an identity. You must stop identifying as someone who struggles with money, someone who is unlucky, or someone who is constantly chasing opportunity. Your new identity is that of the conscious creator and flow manager. This identity shift requires emotional maturity around wealth. It means recognizing that financial mastery is fundamentally about emotional regulation. When opportunities arise, the survival mindset creates anxiety, doubt, and procrastination. The expansion mindset creates calm, clear decision-making, and decisive action. The person operating in expansion does not panic when a market dips or when unexpected expense arises. They view it as mere data, knowing their foundational worth and capacity for creation remain untouched. They understand that money, like water, must move to stay fresh. Claiming this new identity means tying your desire for prosperity to a purpose larger than consumption. When you connect your financial goals to your ability to make an impact, to uplift your family, fund meaningful causes, employ others, or simply be a powerful example of what is possible, your vibration becomes incredibly magnetic. Wealth ceases to be about ego and becomes about ethical leverage. This powerful combination of personal mastery and expansive purpose turns you into a highly attractive, energetic beacon. Furthermore, the empowered identity means setting clear, respectful boundaries around your time and value. Survival frequency often manifests as overworking, undercharging, and people-pleasing, believing that scarcity requires you to accept less than you deserve. The empowered flow manager respects their time, confidently articulates their value, and has no shame in receiving abundant compensation for the unique gifts they offer. They understand that charging appropriately is an act of self-respect and a necessary component of sustaining the flow. Financial self-mastery is, therefore, a deep manifestation of self-respect. When you step fully into the identity of someone who attracts, manages, and circulates wealth with wisdom and ease, the parallel reality you used to watch from the sidelines suddenly merges with your own. Part 6, Reprogramming and Commitment. We have reached the point of synthesis. The old survival program has been identified and partially neutralized. The new expansion program is running on test mode, fueled by gratitude and intention. Now, we must permanently commit to this new state of being and lock in the transformation. This is not a one-time fix. It is a commitment to continuous energetic alignment, a promise to treat your financial life as a direct reflection of your inner health. The final step is to solidify this new identity through a deep emotional commitment. Close your eyes for a moment and vividly picture your financial system as a powerful, intricate machine designed perfectly for creation. See the gears of opportunity turning smoothly, fueled by the energy of your gratitude and intention. Feel the weight lift from your shoulders, the weight of comparison, the weight of shame, the pressure of scarcity. You no longer carry the financial burdens of your past or the fears of the future. You exist in the powerful, present moment of resourcefulness. Affirm this commitment out loud. I am financially whole. I am aligned with abundance. I manage my resources with wisdom, and I receive exponential returns with ease. I allow myself to thrive. I am the architect of my financial reality, and I choose the frequency of effortless expansion, effective circulation, and impactful contribution. This is your new covenant. Every time anxiety surfaces, every time a ghost of the old scarcity script whispers doubt, you must consciously interrupt that signal and return to the vibration of expansion. This requires commitment to consistent financial gratitude, commitment to celebrating the success of others, and commitment to treating every dollar as an ambassador of abundant possibility. Understand that your financial success is inevitable when your energy matches your desire. The reality you crave, the flow you envied, is now your operational baseline. Move forward now, not just as someone who wants wealth, but as someone who is wealth, an unstoppable channel for prosperity in the world. The transformation we have engineered is robust, yet the greatest test of this new identity always occurs not during initial failure, but immediately following a significant triumph. Once the flow begins, once the income trajectory shifts sharply upward or the major opportunity materializes, the subconscious mind often panics, attempting to revert to familiar, restrictive programming. This is a financial ego attempting to pull you back to baseline, where it felt safer and more predictable. To counteract this inertial pull, you must establish the integrity loop. This mechanism ensures that your expanding financial choices remain absolutely congruent with your highest non-monetary values. When a lucrative deal or a major investment presents itself, the question is not simply, is this profitable? But rather, does this require me to compromise my core commitment to health, truth, or essential relationships? Any financial gain procured through a violation of internal integrity generates immediate energetic friction, which will inevitably impede the flow further down the line. Sustained abundance demands ethical alignment, forging an inseparable link between wealth generation and personal virtue. Building on this internal congruence, we must refine the crucial skill of intuitional calibration. In the past, every flicker of doubt felt like a legitimate warning. Fear masqueraded convincingly as prudent caution. Now, with the survival alarms muted, you need to learn the subtle language of genuine financial intuition. True guidance, the signal that separates calculated, expansive risk from reckless gambling, is experienced differently. It is quiet, deep, and deeply resonant, a feeling of knowing that transcends spreadsheet analysis. Conversely, the remnants of fear are loud, characterized by a gripping sense of urgency, frantic rationalization, and mental chaos. Mastering the flow requires dedicating time daily to silence the mental chatter, specifically asking yourself, Does this upcoming venture feel expansive, or does it feel contracting? The resonant answer, often a deep, calm acceptance, is the only cue necessary to move forward, regardless of external skepticism. Furthermore, sustaining this elevated frequency demands a rigorous commitment to filtering your external world. You cannot continuously expose yourself to environmental signals of scarcity and expect to maintain an expansion mindset. Consider your physical surroundings. Clutter, disorganization, and deferred maintenance in your home or workspace are physical manifestations of stagnant financial energy. By consciously curating an environment of order, quality, and respect, ensuring every object serves a purpose and is well maintained, you create a spatial affirmation of your worthiness to attract and manage abundance. This extends to your digital and social ecosystems. Consciously unfollow sources of financial doom and gloom and gravitate toward voices that speak about complexity with clarity and possibility, with grounded optimism. Your environment is a silent, powerful partner in your energetic commitment. Yet, the most nuanced component of long-term commitment is the radical act of financial self-forgiveness. Every wealthy individual has a history of catastrophic financial decisions, ill-advised investments, or simple missteps. The key difference is that the prosperous view these events as tuition paid for wisdom. They are neutralized data points. The stagnant individual, however, carries these mistakes as perpetual emotional liabilities, allowing past failures to anchor their present potential. You must ceremoniously and definitively release the energy consumed by the venture that failed 5 years ago or the debt incurred during a momentary lapse in judgment. Forgive the previous version of yourself for not knowing what you know now. This liberation of mental and emotional capital is essential. Only when you cease hemorrhaging energy into the past can you fully commit all of your current focus to the infinite possibilities of the present moment. This deliberate practice, the integrity loop, intuitional calibration, environmental filtering, and radical forgiveness, transforms your journey from an effortful pursuit into a sustainable, magnetic state of being where alignment is not a destination, but the unwavering operating system. Reflecting on this transformative journey so far, one begins to sense a profound shift in the very atmosphere surrounding your endeavors. That incessant hum of anxiety, the background noise of financial worry that defined your days, has begun to dissipate, replaced by a deep, resonant silence. It is in this quiet clarity that you recognize the true cumulative effect of the internal renovations we have undertaken. The change is no longer abstract. It's a visceral sensation, akin to a runner discovering the proper biomechanics after years of painful, inefficient effort. The ground you traverse now feels stable, yielding to your movement rather than resisting it. The most potent realization emerging from this work is the understanding that the external world was never truly the battleground. The perceived lack, the cyclical stagnation that created such deep emotional distress, was merely the reverberation of an outdated internal alarm system. By consciously examining the foundations of your expectations and meticulously resetting the calibration points of your worth, you haven't just patched a leak. You rerouted the entire system. You are no longer navigating the choppy waters of chance. You are piloting a vessel whose compass is magnetized by intentionality, naturally drawing you toward the necessary harbors of resources and collaboration. Consider the feeling of opening your professional correspondence now. Where once there was a dread of obligation or the resignation of disappointment, there is now an underlying posture of calm, curious expectation. The intense effort required to simply push revenue streams upstream has been replaced by the subtle yet powerful leverage of alignment. The energy you expend now is directed, not wasted. It's the difference between forcing a key in a rusted lock and applying precise, measured pressure that allows the mechanism to turn smoothly. This congruence, the elegant synchronicity between your deepest conviction and your daily execution, is a signature of true energetic mastery. The two parallel realities you once observed, the world of struggle and the world of effortless expansion, have started to merge, less through external miracles and more through internal recognition. You see now that the prosperous were not privy to secret information or unfair advantages. They simply operated from an unshakable premise of sufficiency. They were responding to an inner directive that promised growth, while your previous directive had been braced for retraction. This convergence means that when an opportunity presents itself, your primary internal response is no longer, "Can I afford the failure?" but rather, "How can I amplify the potential of this exchange?" This shift in core reference point is what fundamentally alters your trajectory. You cease to be defined by your balance sheet and become defined by your capacity to create and circulate value. The weight of proving yourself has dissolved. You have stepped into a space where every transaction, every decision, every encounter is imbued with a quiet confidence that transcends circumstance. This liberated mental space is fertile ground, capable of sustaining exponential growth, because it is no longer consuming its own resources through fear. The air is cleared, the path ahead is visible, and the sense of momentum is now palpable. We have reached the threshold where this refined state of being must be secured, transforming temporary insight into permanent gravitational flow. The ultimate reward of this profound internal architecture is the realization that the friction that once defined your existence, the constant push-pull between desire and reality, was not an external barrier imposed by circumstance, but a miscalibration within your own nervous system. You have learned that the struggle was never with the market, the economy, or the scarcity of opportunities. The struggle was with the subconscious conviction that you were unworthy or unprepared to receive the abundance you craved. By shifting your energetic frequency from survival to expansion, you have experienced an alchemical transformation where effort ceases to be labor and becomes leverage. You no longer need to see yourself as a chaser of financial success. You have become the magnetic north to which opportunities naturally align. This newfound state of flow grants you a quiet, formidable power that the striving masses can only envy. It is the deep confidence that even if every external asset were suddenly stripped away, your core capacity to regenerate and create would remain intact. This understanding transforms your relationship with risk. It stops being a terrifying gamble and starts being a calculated redirection of energy. You recognize that the only true, non-negotiable asset you possess is your internal integrity and your ability to maintain alignment with prosperity. This insight is what truly separates the perpetually successful from the momentary flashes in the pan. Those who operate from expansion know that their wealth is not stored in the bank, but within their self-mastery. It is here that we grasp the final, unifying truth of financial sovereignty. The entire quest for material wealth was, in its deepest essence, a search for permission. Permission to relax, permission to feel safe, and permission to trust life. When you achieve energetic alignment, you grant yourself that permission unconditionally, long before the external results arrive. The moment you decide you are already safe, already sufficient, and already worthy of expansion, the universe stops requiring you to prove it. The external reality, which previously lagged behind your desperate efforts, begins to accelerate, reflecting the spaciousness and ease you cultivate within. The heavy, resistive energy of scarcity cannot coexist with the light, fluid energy of gratitude and deservingness. To maintain this powerful posture, your commitment must now shift from pursuing results to safeguarding your frequency. Your primary ongoing duty is not to the spreadsheet, but to your internal resonance. When faced with a challenging decision, whether a large investment or a simple negotiation, ask yourself, does this choice contribute to my expansion, or does it trigger a contraction back toward survival? Always choose a path that affirms your sovereignty and increases your energetic integrity. The true measure of your financial success will no longer be the number on a ledger, but the depth of peace you carry regarding your financial future. You once stood frustratedly on the outside, observing a parallel reality where ease and prosperity were the default. You now stand firmly rooted in that reality, recognizing that the only thing separating the two worlds was a vibrational signature. Your journey is not complete, but the fundamental struggle is over. You have learned to connect to the boundless current that flows through all creation. Now, step forward with the certainty of a conductor whose baton commands the orchestra. You are not asking for abundance. You are directing it. Let this be your enduring commitment. To live every day as a person who is already worthy, already flowing, and already capable of infinite contribution. The universe has already responded. The transformation is complete. Go forth and create.